Hello, hello. And thank you for checking out another video. Before I start talking about the topic that I had in mind, I just wanted to mention something that had happened recently that just got me thinking, and I just wanted to kind of explicitly make some kind of comment about it. I've said before, I don't do this kind of stuff for the adulation. I do it because it's something that I'm passionate about. Using my own experiences, what I've discovered about myself, the issues that I've come up against, and using a kind of coaching approach to try and figure out the nuts and bolts of what can make life difficult sometimes, and how you can sometimes work around those kinds of things. So that's kind of where that comes from. Um, and I don't have, I'm no Tony Robbins. I've got significantly less hair than Tony Robbins has. I think I'm probably about a foot shorter. And I'm not necessarily aspiring to be either. It's something that I'm passionate about, something I enjoy doing. I don't have the biggest audience in the world. I don't really know who's consuming videos and other content that I've done. I know that the odd person watches it. Hi, Dad. Um, and I get the odd message from time to time from people, just telling me that they appreciate either a certain topic or the videos in general. So there was a comment fairly recently that I enjoyed, which was just around, kind of the style of these videos, which is very intentionally not. It's not supposed to be slick content, and I think. Yeah, I don't know whether the chap himself might be watching at the moment. I did appreciate your comment about the rawness of the video, um, the videos that I do. So I don't dress up for them. Occasionally I'll be wearing my I think you might call it a slanket in some of them. You might have seen, but it was cold. Sometimes I'm wearing a hat, because it's cold. And yeah, so that's me. I don't appreciate slick content as much as anyone else, but I don't necessarily have a ton of time to be sitting editing videos, and it does the slick content sometimes makes me feel a little bit uncomfortable. I think sometimes it can be style over substance. So just so that people know that that's an intentional thing for multiple reasons. I don't have a ton of time to be um, editing videos. Don't want to be sitting at home during kind of family time or chill out time, sitting editing videos. So you kind of what you see is what you get, and that is me pretty much. So yeah, appreciated that. Anyway, I've spent nearly 3 minutes talking about that. So here's some other stuff. So what I wanted to talk about mainly was about the importance of recognizing progress. Um, so, are you someone who never really stops, lifts your head up, and kind of looks back to see how far you've come with things? So I am wired that way. So I've mentioned before, it's only really now when I get into my early 40s that I can kind of actually go, oh, do you know what? I'm actually quite proud of the things that I've achieved in my life. And that's quite a big thing for me to actually say that because I've never really taken the time to actually stop and go, oh, yeah, I've done some stuff. I worked hard. I've achieved some stuff. Um, and it would be, most people will be able to say the same as well. But do you actually ever take any time to kind of appreciate that? So I remember going from school. I wasn't, I'm academically capable, but I didn't really kind of show that at school. Wasn't really particularly focused. I was more interested in playing rugby and quite happily just play rugby all the time. So I didn't get the best. I left school with I think it was like 7 hires, most of which were fairly mediocre grade wise. I was definitely more academically capable than that, but I wasn't capable of focusing to that degree, and I didn't know what I wanted to do, which was all part of the problem. Went on to university, did a science degree, figured out how to studied something I was interested in, and then I figured out what my goal was, which was to get into medical school, worked towards that, got into medical school, 5 years out, it was 4 years at my first degree, 5 years at medical school, got through every year at medical school. got into foundation training, and then it was, F1 year, F2 year, year out, and then on to training after that. So it was kind of just this treadmill. And actually, probably the first time I ever really kind of looked back, I remember getting to the end of passing finals at medical school and being quite proud of that, but then immediately being like, right, what's the next thing? And that's what happens with these kinds of pathways, is that you can just be passed down the treadmill. And then the next time I probably looked back was when I finished my training in emergency medicines, and it was the enormity of that was, kind of blindsided me a little bit, because I was also pretty burned out at that point in time. But I remember talking to my other half about it at the time and just saying, it's just dawned on me that this is this postgraduate medical training part of it was 10 years of my life. So that's massive. That's a significant proportion of your life spent working towards something. That's huge. So there was an element of kind of stopping to appreciate that. But I was pretty burned out at the time, as I think I've talked about before. Um, and I probably then, then I was kind of like, I was in a bit of a, I don't want to say crisis at the time, a demi crisis, where I was like, didn't really know where I wanted to be working or what I wanted to be doing. And then it kind of still just became this attitude of what's the next thing, what's the next thing, what's the next thing, and just never really feeling properly fulfilled by things. And as I've been going through this training process in my sort of my newer job that I'm in now, that's been a significant investment of time and effort as well. And I knew that was going to be the case. I knew it was going to be a few months of really quite hard work to get up to speed in a completely new job. And it's all very well kind of spread out and layered and stuff. So you can kind of see how you're doing as you go along, and you kind of have small mini achievements, and that's kind of what I've had to do, to just not feel like I'm going to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, and actually being able to look back and comparing myself with myself, which is really a really, really important thing that you need to start doing, is recognizing your capabilities, recognizing that when you're working towards something that you are actually making progress, and that can only be done by taking a pause, taking a stop, doing a comparison, but only with yourself, and then looking back on your own timeline and going, do you know what? Actually, I am getting better at this. I am doing it quicker. I am doing it better. I am doing it. I wouldn't have been able to do this a month ago. And you can even use things, other kind of structured tools to do that as well. So, meditation can be a way of doing that. I'm not meditation has never really stuck for me, but you can meditate on these things sometimes and actually cast your mind back to things, although it's probably the more of the point of meditation is to stay in the moment. Journaling I find very helpful for this kind of thing as well, so that's a kind of day by day thing of what's happening today, what happened yesterday, what did I do well, what can I do better, checking in with yourself. And then also, having a planning process in place as well, where you have regular review points. So I've talked beginning of this month about how I've changed my approach to planning a little bit. It's far less formal than it was before. Yes, I will have my bigger vision, and I will break that down into goals of chunks of years. I will have kind of things that I want to work towards in the course of a year, and I will have checkpoints along the way. So those kind of quarterly checkpoints or annual checkpoints are really important as well, where you can look back and go, you know what, I am actually making progress. Because your time on this earth is finite, and you do need to enjoy it as well. It's not just all about totting up achievements along the way. Let me know what you think. How do you celebrate your progress, or how are you going to start celebrating your progress? Let me know, and I will see you in the next one.